Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here for another good video, and here I'll be touring a jail, so it's a pretty emotional thing I'm going to be doing. Alright, let's jump right into it. Let me give you a tour of the jail. Alright everybody, as you can see, we're just in the booking area of a jail. Now, as you can see, it's nothing major. They're going to have the cameras on the right you just saw. So I'm just going to walk you through how it is. As you can see, I'm showing you the footprints. They make sure you go where they want you to go, and there's no mistake. So you go right here, you take a photograph. So you do that, you get booked. The first cell I'm going to show you is a DUI cell. And now these jail cells I'm showing you are from police stations or county jails. They're all pretty much the same. The booking area is anyway. As you can see, this is look at the tininess of this little DUI cell. They put you in that cell right there and do that. And all they do that is so you don't get, you don't destroy anything. The next cell we just saw was a juvenile cell. They put juveniles separate. They don't want the juveniles to be with anybody. Obviously, you're looking at the steel toilets. These toilets bring back a lot of memories. These are the exact same toilets that are in prisons themselves. And obviously, man, I used to have mine shining like you couldn't believe because I eat out of it. And as I remember telling a story about me in the jail cell, man, I smashed the guy's face into concrete just like that. And the reason I'm showing you this picture right here, I used to stand on that toilet contraption, if you want to call it, toilet sink combination, and talk through the vent. And I remember when my buddy died and we were talking through the vent, and he said to me, he goes, "Hey brother, I'm checking out." And I said, "Man, where you going?" And that is crazy because he ended up killing himself, and something I'll never forget and I'll always live with. But this is a juvenile cell. They always have the bars on one side. We had steel and doors and very thin layers of glass. The next cell I'm talking, this is the female cell. Now I want to show you. Look at this. They have blinds up there, and they can bring the blinds down so females. It's not so much with the blinds of people seeing in, is they don't want guys walking back. It's not the guards. The guards can look in anytime they want. It's because when other inmates are out in that area getting booked or wherever they're going, getting transferred or whatever they're doing, they don't want them looking into the cell with female inmates. Especially, look at the way they got the toilet in this facility for women. I mean, most of them have where the wall comes out a little bit, and you can use the toilet with I guess a modem of privacy, if you want to call it that, and but not here. And as you can see, it's wide open. These cells, as you can see as well, are very bare, but these are holding cells. Now there's a big difference, and I'm going to get into that a little bit afterwards, about the difference between a jail cell and a prison cell. As you can see, here it is. Just a bare bones cell. And they'll put 4 or 5 women in there at a time. They don't care. And then you come here and you got the bigger cells. These cells are for more people. Look at where you can see a little bit of privacy you just saw. Because that toilet's kind of behind the wall. So you can actually, if you want to call it, get a modem of privacy. Now look at this toilet, and I'm flushing it. Look at the suction on that down. Now let me tell you what I did while you're watching that. I literally cut up a mattress. Cut up a mattress. They're thin pieces of a foam wrapped with this like blue, and they were like a vinyl or something like that. And they were terrible because if it was hot, you would sweat on them. It was just terrible. I had an extra mattress in my cell, and I cut the mattress up with a razor blade that I stole after a shave. And I literally cut the mattress up into pieces, long pieces, mind you, and kept flushing that toilet. And that suction kept sucking the mattress literally down into the toilet system. So that mattress actually went out into the pipes, into the bigger pipes, and it left. That's exactly what happened. I mean, it was crazy, but you could see the suction on those toilets. And as you can see the water in that toilet, believe it or not, I've been so thirsty once when the sink actually didn't work, and I used toilet water and literally drank it. I know it sounds disgusting, but I made sure that toilet was as clean as can be with scrub brush, and even they put like Comet or whatever you want to call it, like a powdery stuff to clean it. And what I did was I scrubbed that thing like you wouldn't believe. I ended up, because there was no pressure on the toilet knob itself, and I ended up having a drink of water. That's how thirsty I was. And believe it or not, this is actually a pretty clean system I'm looking at right now. I clean these things like you wouldn't believe. And then obviously all it is a piece of concrete. You know, you want to say lay it on the concrete. Here in this cell, it's a little bigger again. And as you can see, the toilet is over here in the corner. And I did that as well. You know, I mean, it was crazy because literally I'd spend hours on hours and hours on end in these cells. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk right from the cell. All right, everybody, as you can see, the echo is driving me crazy in here. And it is like that in a regular cell, because a little less because you got a bunk and a locker and stuff like that in there. But these holding cells are all alike. They're just like this. There's going to be a lot of echoing, and you just lay here. I mean, I remember laying on this thing here in this position, laying with a toilet paper roll as my pillow and waiting. And you know, I've been transferred so many times. I was on Con Air 16 times or more, and that's being transferred from one prison to another. So it's just something that you got to get used to. And what I used to do in doing these kind of things is get my mind set on thinking of something else. I didn't think about where I was going. I didn't think about the next process step. Because in prison, in jails, there's a process, and it's all the same. One person comes in, you get processed, you get fingerprinted, you go to that next spot, you get changed out, they strip you naked, you lift your balls, turn around, spread your butt, and they look for things you're stealing or things you're trying to bring in or hide. And so you do that part of it, but you don't, that's all a process, and it's pretty much the same everywhere. So what I used to do is I used to get my mind set on something totally different. It might be a friend outside that I had good times with that I remembered, or some, you know, my mom or dad or my kids or something of that nature. I would totally focus on something outside the situation I was in. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna go crazy. Because you see the people go up to these doors, banging on them, screaming, doing everything you can. Doesn't work. They don't give a shit. People don't care. The system doesn't care. They don't care. They're used to you. The United States is the most incarcerated country in the world. You don't think they care? They don't think they know what's going on? You don't think they know how to handle people? They have the goon squads and all the stuff that comes along with this kind of stuff. They have that. And my goal is to show you why you don't want to be in here. Because I'll be honest, just being in these places gives me the creeps. You know, I could never, if they shut that door, I'd probably freak out. And I don't know what I would do. I'd have a panic attack. I'd do something. Since getting out of prison, I got such a claustrophobic, and it would probably take 5 guys to handcuff me because I would go nuts. I couldn't do it, and I understand why people can't. I understand why people fight, and I'm sure it has to do with my PTSD, and I'm sure it has to do with confinement I was in. It sure has to do with the military I was in. So I understand all that. I think my mind, and hope to believe my mind would fight that, and I wouldn't be caught in a bad situation. I'd hope to not be caught in a bad situation. Obviously, I don't do anything wrong to get in trouble anymore, and that's part of, you know, being what I am now, and that's a person who tries to show you why it's not a good idea to be in prison. Yep, these are the toilets. And what you do when you're in here, and if you have other people in here, then you keep doing this. And you keep doing this. Because nobody in prison wants to smell you or anybody. And people turn around and you just keep doing that. And it doesn't matter. You just keep doing it. And believe it or not, the suction in these things is so powerful. They bring you totally, you know, you can, I'm telling you, I cut up a mattress, a plastic mattress, the whole mattress, and literally fed it down these toilet chutes. So you'd be surprised at what you can do. As you can see, I mean, those cells are bare bones. And let me give you the difference between a prison jail cell and a real prison cell. Okay, as you saw in those cells, a real prison cell will have 2 bunks, not those concrete slabs. They'll have 2 bunks, a bunk bed, 1 bunk, I mean 2 bunks, but it's a bunk bed up against the wall, and it is bolted in so you can't move it around your cell to make it whatever way you want or anything like that. There'll be a locker in there, or 2 lockers. They'll have side by side or up and down, one on top of the other, lockers for you and your cellmate. They'll have the same exact stainless steel toilet setup combination. And they'll have a steel, usually a steel desk about that long, that wide, also bolted into the concrete, and has a swivel chair on it, using the swivel chair to sit on and maybe write a letter. And believe it or not, I did a lot of legal briefs sitting on that steel thing and that little table it was, and I did it in pencil, literally pencil, and I would sharpen my pencils with my razor blade or scrub it along the concrete wall to get it kind of filed to a point, if you want to call it that. And I would then write letters, whether it was to Congress, the senators, to the newspapers, or my legal briefs. So here's the difference. Obviously, the cells you just saw are all holding cells. Now, all jails have holding cells. Police stations have holding cells. Unless it's a very, very small police department, every one of them will have cells like I'm just showing you. And it's where they hold people and process people, and then either let them out right there if it's a non-violent, or if it's a offense that doesn't do bond or something of that nature. If it's anything serious, they have to transfer you to the county jail. And where I live, that's a place called Sharps, and it's one of the worst places in the country. That's where they killed the veteran, Gregory Edwards. And I just saw that video, and I'm telling you, everybody, it made me nauseous. It truly made me nauseous. And it made me more nauseous that the sheriff just thinks that they did the right thing. So let's get back to the difference between this jail I'm showing you, or this holding cells at a police station, and then a county jail, which the county jail will then have pods. And in the pods, they have a booking area just like this area here at the county jail, and they'll have those holding cells set up just like you're seeing here. After they process you here, they then take you to what they call a cell block or a cell pod in jails. In real prisons, you go from this holding cell processing center, it's called R&D, receiving and discharge. It's the same thing in all the facilities. So they'll put you in there, and then they'll take you, in the prisons I was at, they would take you to the hole or the shoe, special housing unit. And they would put you in there, and then you'd do captain's review, and then go to the yard from there, and you'd go to a housing unit. In a county jail, they're not going to do that. It's not like you're going to, that you're not supposed to be there for over 365 days. If you get 366 days in prison, they send you to a prison, which could be better in some regards, because the county jail, you don't get game time, they call it, or good time. Even if it is 85%, you're still getting those 15 days, or whatever it is. You get 35 days a year, I think it was, something of that nature, which was the 15%. But in a county jail, they're going to take you from the booking area where you just saw the R&D, and they're going to take you to a cell house or a cell block or a pod. They call them in county jails. Now, in that pod, as you see on 60 Days In or anything like that, those are pods where they have people, cells along the wall, and then you have a day area in the middle and maybe a couple of phones, and you go from there. And then you do your time in and out. They'll have, everything is done on that floor. They'll bring the food to that pod. They have a couple of showers in that pod. So everything is done in that pod. So that's the difference. Now in a prison, you have cell houses. So you'll have, whether it's A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3 is what we had, most of them. In Atlanta, we had A house, which was Alpha House. Charlie House was the whole. They had Alpha House, Bravo House, Delta House. Opposite of Delta House was Charlie House. So that's the difference in a big prison. And when you go into the bigger prisons, you're gonna go to a chow hole. They don't bring chow to you. They don't have food there. They'll have the showers in that area. But you'll go to the yard, you'll go to education, you'll go to the library, you'll go to the infirmary, you'll go everywhere from that pod. That's your house, or your you know, that's what you used to call it. That's, hey Lawton, where you living? I'm in A1. And then you go there and say, okay, I'm in A1, and then, hey man, I'm on cell, 106 in A1. Come see me, sneak in. Now, you're not supposed to go to each other's cell houses or in prisons, but everybody does it, and nobody knows because the guards don't even know. They might look and say, hey, you don't belong here, get out of here, something like that. Doesn't work that way in a county jail. See, in a county jail, you're never leaving that cell block, and each cell block is classified. Like in a county jail, and I've been in numerous county jails. Elizabeth County Jail in New Jersey is one of the worst I've been in. Another really bad one is Atlantic County. Also, Camden, New Jersey had a very bad county jail. Certain places had terrible county jails. I was in Seminole County Jail in Florida, and to be honest, they treated you right, and it wasn't as bad as you would think. Most of the jail doors have a little gap underneath, and we used to throw kites under it with rope. We'd rip bed sheets. We would actually make a rope out of underwear and the twine, and then take a flat toothpaste, we used to call them the state toothpaste, little tube, flat, look like cement coming out of that shit to brush your teeth. And we'd flatten that out, and that would be heavy enough to throw down the corridor to get to another person's cell. They would take that cord and bring whatever you brought over, like they would take magazines or whatever it is, and they would get the magazines. I'd be able to pass the magazines to them back and forth and stuff like that. So these jails that I went to obviously don't have that. I refused to go even, it was funny, I did the ride along, and the cops said, hey, they had to bring the kids to Sharps. Sharps is the jail I'm talking about. I said, I'll pass. I don't even want to go within feet of that place because the guy who runs that place is no good. No, do I trust him? Not a little bit. There's so many incidents in this county where deputies have planted stuff on people. I mean, there was a FBI report out about a guy here who was trying to get drugs, and he called a deputy friend to stop someone and put the drugs in this guy's car. A councilman. It's in an FBI report. It's not me just saying it. Now, does it go on in a lot of places? I'm sure it does. Which is sad. And it goes back to how we hire people. And it also goes back to how I don't judge people. And I'm not going to judge all correction officers, or I'm not going to judge all cops, obviously. I respect good cops. They all know that. I respect good guards. They know that. You could look at Massey. You could look at a guy named Hoyle. You could look at guys that I know that are pretty good dudes. And you know what? They treated us with respect, and we gave respect back to them. What really makes me kind of sick is county jails Most people in county jails are not convicted of anything yet. But they're treated like they are. They're treated like the worst of the worst. And it drives me nuts that they do this. It really, really does. And I just showed you the county jail, the police station jail. And believe it or not, the steel doors, the heavy glass, the bars, the way they do it, the way they have to go in there themselves right now, that gave me the creeps, guys. Don't think I liked that for a second. Not 1 second. I didn't like that. But you know, I do a lot of these videos just to show you guys what's going on and to give my knowledge to you not to go to them. I want you to think about the choices you make because you don't want to go to those places. Please, guys, make good choices. Much love, much respect. Have a great day, everybody.